Kevin O'Leary sits on a stage and tells you that your $5 latte is the reason you're not a millionaire. He tells you to stop spending, start penny pinching, and live a life of soul-crushing frugality just to save a few bucks a week. But let's be brutally honest. In 2026, that advice isn't just outdated, it's actually dangerous. It's a mathematical trap designed to keep you focused on crumbs while the entire bakery is being looted behind your back. Saving pennies won't make you rich in an economy that is devaluing your currency faster than you can stack it. If you're still broke, it's not the coffee. It's not the Netflix subscription. It's your strategy. You've been sold a lie that wealth is built through deprivation, that if you just suffer enough today, maybe, just maybe, you'll have enough to retire when you're too old to enjoy it. That is financial masochism. While you're skipping your morning caffeine to save a measly $50 a month, the big banks and the 1% are laughing. They aren't looking for ways to save $5. They are looking for ways to deploy $100 into high leverage assets that print money while they sleep. I'm going to show you exactly how to flip $100 into a fortune this year, and it has nothing to do with a savings account. We are living in the most volatile yet opportunistic financial era in human history. The old rules are dead. The safe path is a graveyard for the middle class. If you think a 4% return is going to save you from 10% real-world inflation, you are mathematically illiterate. You are hemorrhaging purchasing power every single second you hesitate. Stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a predator. In this video, I am dismantling the latte factor myth once and for all. I am going to show you why $100 in the right place is worth more than $10,000 in a rotting bank account. We're talking about asymmetric risk, the velocity of money, and the specific 2026 wealth triggers that the fake gurus won't tell you about because they want you to keep buying their how to save courses. This is the only 2-minute warning you get. If you want to keep counting your pennies while the world moves past you, click away. But if you want to learn how to weaponize your capital, stay exactly where you are. The war for your financial survival starts now. Here is the cold, hard truth that nobody wants to admit. Kevin O'Leary is right for Kevin O'Leary, but he is dead wrong for you. When Mr. Wonderful tells you to cut out the coffee and skip the expensive dinners, he is speaking from the perspective of a man who already has a multi-million-dollar moat. He's already won the game. For him, wealth preservation is the goal, but for you, wealth preservation is a death sentence. By following this celebrity advice, you are falling headfirst into the scarcity mindset trap. You are training your brain to see the world through the lens of less rather than more. Being cheap is not an investment strategy. It is a slow-motion financial suicide. Let's do the math that the gurus conveniently ignore. If you save $100 in a jar or a safe 0.01% checking account, what happens by December 2026 between the expansion of the money supply and the rising cost of living? That $100 won't even have the purchasing power of $90. You didn't save money. You paid a 10% stupidity tax to the system. The rich do not just save, they multiply. They understand that cash is a melting ice cube, and the only way to survive is to move that cash into assets that grow faster than the central banks can print. The don't spend advice keeps you focused on the wrong side of the equation. It forces you to spend 100% of your mental energy on cutting expenses, which has a floor of 0, instead of focusing on increasing your income and your deployment strategy, which has a ceiling of infinity. While you're stressed out over a $5 latte, the elite are using $100 to gain access to private deals, high leverage skill sets, and asymmetrical market plays that return 10 times, 20 times, or 50 times. The mistake you see on the thumbnail isn't just about the money, it's about the philosophy. If you spend your life avoiding the $5 coffee, but you don't know how to turn 100 into $1,000, you are destined to be a high-functioning broke person. You'll have a slightly larger pile of rotting cash, but you'll still be a slave to the clock. In 2026, the gap between the savers and the multipliers is becoming a canyon. You need to decide right now which side you want to be on, because by the time the next inflation wave hits, the savers will be wiped out, while the multipliers will be buying up the wreckage for pennies on the dollar. If you want to know why you are still poor while others are printing wealth in their sleep, you need to look at what you did with the last $100 that passed through your hands. The difference between the Garib, the poor mindset, and the Amir, the rich mindset, isn't the amount of money they start with. It is the direction in which that money flows. Most people are stuck in a psychological loop where they view money as a tool for consumption. To them, $100 is just a ticket to buy a temporary feeling of status. Look at the Garib strategy. They take that $100 and they spend it on a pair of branded shoes or a flashy shirt. The second they walk out of that store, the value of that asset drops by 50%. In 2 years, those shoes are worth $10 and their $100 is gone forever. They worked 8 hours of their life to buy a piece of rubber and fabric that is rotting in their closet. They are trading their finite life force for depreciating garbage. This is why you are struggling. You are building someone else's empire while you starve your own. Now look at the Amir strategy. The rich mindset doesn't see $100 as $100. They see it as a seed. They see it as a worker that can go out into the world and bring back more workers. They spend that $100 on an asset. Maybe it's a subscription to a high-level data terminal. Maybe it's a piece of fractional real estate. Or maybe it's a specific software that automates a side hustle. That $100 pays them back month after month, year after year. The Garib buys liabilities disguised as assets. The Amir buys assets that fund their liabilities. The biggest mistake you're making right now, the one that is keeping you paralyzed, is waiting for enough money to start. You've convinced yourself that you need $10,000 or $50,000 to really invest. That is a lie fed to you by the system to keep you on the sidelines. If you cannot manage $100, you will never be able to manage $100,000. The math is the same, only the zeros change. If you are waiting for a windfall to change your life, you've already lost. $100 is all you need to enter the game. In fact, $100 in 2026 is the ultimate litmus test of your financial future. If you spend it on a night out, you've chosen to stay a peasant. If you spend it on a tool, a skill, or an asymmetrical asset, you've chosen to become a predator. This is the US versus them war in its purest form. The them is the consumerist machine that wants you to feel inadequate, so you'll buy their products. The US are the people who realize that every dollar is a soldier in the war for financial independence. You are currently hemorrhaging capital on things that don't love you back. You are committing financial suicide by 1,000 small purchases. It's time to stop the bleeding. It's time to stop being a victim of your own spending habits and start realizing that the only thing standing between you and the 1% is how you deploy your next Benjamin Franklin. Chapter 1. The foundation. $40 of the S&P 500 bedrock. The first thing you do with that $100 isn't gambling on a moonshot. It's building a fortress. You take 40% of your capital and you put it into a low-cost, broad market index fund like VOO, Vanguard S&P 500, or VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market. Why? Because you need a benchmark. This is your safe base. While you're out there trying to find the next big thing, this $40 is working for you. 24/7 tied to the 500 most profitable companies in human history. In 2026, the S&P 500 isn't just a list of companies. It's a filter for survival. These companies have the cash reserves to weather any storm in the scale to crush their competition. By owning VO, you are effectively betting on the collective greed and ingenuity of the modern world. It is financial suicide to have 100% of your money in cash, but it is equally reckless to have 100% in speculative assets. This $40 ensures that even if your other bets fail, you are still growing with the global economy. This is how you stop hemorrhaging cash to inflation and start capturing the compounding interest that Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. Stay tuned, because the next $30 is where we shift from defense to aggressive offense. Chapter 2, the future, $30 in 2026 tech, AI, infrastructure. Now that your base is set, we go for growth. You take $30 and you deploy it into the intelligence revolution. We aren't just talking about buying a share of a tech company. We're talking about fractions, shares of the companies building the actual physical infrastructure of the AI era. In 2026, AI has moved past the hype phase and into the industrialization phase. You want a piece of the companies providing the compute power, the energy, and the silicon. Think of the Magnificent Seven, but focused on the 2026 leader, like NVIDIA, Microsoft, or specialized AI ETFs like bots or BAI. With $30, you can't buy a full share of NVIDIA, but through fractional investing, you can own a piece of it. You are literally buying a slice of the most powerful brain ever created by man. This is about wealth evaporation prevention. If you don't own the tech that is replacing human labor, you are the one being replaced. By owning $30 of these tech titans, you are positioning yourself on the right side of the greatest wealth transfer in history. You are no longer just a consumer of AI, you are a shareholder in its dominance. Chapter 3, the catalyst, $30 in self-education and skill equity. This is the part that makes most people uncomfortable because it requires effort. You take the final $30 and you invest it in yourself. Not a college degree that takes 4 years to tell you what happened 10 years ago. I'm talking about a $30 specialized tool, a high-level book, or a technical certification in a 26 high-income skill like prompt engineering, data storytelling, or AI-integrated project management. The best ROI, return on investment, in 2026 is your own skill. If that $30 helps you learn a skill that adds $1,000 to your monthly income, that is a 3,333% return. No stock, no crypto, and certainly no bank account can ever match that. Most people are broke because their skill set is a commodity. If anyone can do what you do, you will be paid the bare minimum to survive. But if you use that $30 to become the person who knows how to bridge the gap between AI and business, you become indispensable. Your skills are an asset that can't be inflated away, can't be stolen by a bank run, and can't be taxed until you realize the gain. Chapter 4, the velocity of money. Why $100 is more. Then enough people ask, what is $100 going to do? It's called the velocity of money. When you start with $100 and you follow this 40-30 split, you are building a habit. Wealth is a muscle. If you can't lift $100, you will break your back under $1 million. In 2026, the tools for small investors are better than they've ever been. Zero commission trades, fractional shares, and free high-level education mean that you $100 has the same power as a billionaire's $100. The only difference is the number of zeros. By starting now, you are capturing time. Every day you wait for more money is a day you are letting the most powerful force in finance compounding work against you. If you don't start today, you are essentially saying that your future self doesn't deserve to be free. Chapter 5, the escape velocity mini hook. We've built the base, we've targeted the growth, and we've upgraded the operator U. But there is one final piece of the puzzle. Most people will do all of this and still fail because they make one brutal mistake in the final hour. In the next few minutes, I'm going to debunk the guru lies that will tempt you to throw this $100 into the trash if you want to make sure your $100 doesn't just grow, but actually lasts. You cannot afford to skip the next section. We are about to enter the survival zone. Now we get to the most important part of this entire blueprint. If you want to flip $100 into a fortune, it's not just about what you buy. It's about what you refuse to buy. The thumbnail of this video warned you, do not buy this. And I wasn't talking about the coffee. In 2026, there are 3 specific financial landmines that are designed to strip mine your wealth and leave you in a state of permanent hemorrhaging cash first. Fast fashion, and hype clothes. This is the ultimate Garib trap. You see a $100 hoodie or a pair of sneakers that the algorithm tells you is essential. You buy it to feel like you've made it. But the second You put that item on, it loses 90% of its value. You didn't buy an asset. You bought a piece of fabric that tells the world you don't understand how money works. In 2026, status isn't what you wear. Status is what you own. If your clothes are worth more than your portfolio, you are a walking billboard for your own poverty. Second, new cars on debt. This is the interest trap that keeps the middle class in chains. The average car payment is now a significant portion of the average income. You are taking a depreciating asset and paying 8%, 10%, or 12% interest for the privilege of watching it lose value in your driveway. That is financial suicide. While the bank is collecting interest from you, they are taking that same money and investing it in the AI tech we talked about earlier. You are literally funding their wealth while they sell you a shiny metal cage. Third, get-rich-quick crypto schemes and meme coins. Let's be brutal. If a coin has a dog on it and no actual utility, it isn't an investment. It's a lottery ticket where the house always wins. In 2026, the market is flushing out the garbage. The fake gurus will tell you to put your last $100 into a moonshot. They do this because they need exit liquidity. They need your $100 so they can sell their worthless tokens. If the asset doesn't solve a problem or generate cash flow, it is a scam. Avoid these three things and you've already outperformed 90% of the population. The logic is simple. You cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of quicksand. Every time you avoid a hype purchase, you are giving your $100 a chance to breathe and multiply. You are moving from a scarcity mindset to an abundance reality. 2026 is going to be a year of brutal separation. It will be the year where the savers lose everything to the silent tax of inflation, and the smart investors claim their seat at the table. You've heard the truth today. Not the sanitized version the banks want you to hear, and not the out of touch advice from billionaires who forgot what it's like to have nothing in their pockets. Kevin O'Leary can afford to worry about lattes. You need to worry about leverage. You now have the blueprint. You have the 40/30 split. You know that $40 goes into the bedrock of the S&P 500. $30 goes into the AI infrastructure. That is reshaping the world, and $30 goes into the most valuable asset on this planet, you. This isn't just a plan. It is a survival strategy. If you leave this video and don't take action within the next 24 hours, you have chosen to remain a victim. You have chosen to let the system win. I don't care if you only have exactly $100. That $100 is your seed. Plant it now, or you'll be begging for shade in 5 years. Don't wait for the perfect time, because the perfect time was yesterday. The second best time is right now. We are building a community of people who refuse to be farmed by the 1%. People who understand that wealth is a weapon and it's time to start swinging it. Here is your mission. I want to see who is actually ready to change their life. If you are committing to deploying your first or next $100 this month using this strategy, I want you to comment "Start" below. I read those comments. That is your public contract with your future self. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve with weekly 2026 wealth updates, data-driven market shifts, and the brutal truth that Main Street is too afraid to tell you, hit that subscribe button. This is your rite of passage into the 1%. Stop being a sheep. Become a predator. I'll see you in the next one.